In one of the hottest and harshest places on Earth, survival is not a choice. It's a constant battle. No supermarkets, no safety, no second chances, just fire, hunger, and instinct. A mother, a child, and a hunter, standing against starvation, predators, and the unforgiving African sun. And in this world, even a single meal can mean the difference between life and death. This is not just survival. This is life at its most raw and real. In the dry savanna of northern Tanzania, where the ground is cracked and the heat of the sun is so intense that the air itself seems to tremble, a Hadzabe woman is kneeling in front of an open fire. And over that fire, she is holding a piece of meat with her bare hands. Meat that came from an African rock python that was nearly 10 feet long and whose strength just hours ago could have killed her. Her hands are burning, but she does not stop because her survival depends on this fire. And beside her sits a small child whose eyes are fixed on the meat because the child knows that today they will eat. But for the past 3 days, they had nothing except dry baobab fruit powder and a small amount of water to keep themselves alive. The savanna air is hot and dry, and in the distance the calls of spotted hyenas echo, reminding them that there is no place for the weak in this land and that danger is always present. The Hadzabe woman slowly moves the burning coals and turns the python meat, and as she does, smoke rises and spreads into the air, carrying not just the smell of food, but the proof of survival. Beside her stands a man whose body is exhausted and whose hands still carry marks from the fight because only hours ago that python attacked them and they fought it with their bare hands and killed it. And if they had made even a single mistake, they would not be alive now. The child slowly reaches toward the meat, but the woman stops them because this food is not just for hunger. It is part of their life, part of their rules. The sun begins to set and spreads a red glow across the savanna, lighting the dry grass and the distant baobab trees whose fruit kept them alive for days. But tonight is different. Tonight they will not eat only baobab. Tonight they will eat python. Tonight they will regain strength. And they need that strength because tomorrow the struggle begins again. New hunger, new fear. And this savanna never allows anyone to survive easily. As the heat of the afternoon slowly fades, the Hadzabe people know that time does not stop because hunger never waits. Their bodies are weakening from days of surviving only on baobab powder and little water, and that strength is almost gone. The Hadzabe man looks toward the sky and then points to a distant tree where high above hangs a large honeycomb, and from it comes the constant buzzing of bees, a clear sign that it is an active nest of Apis mellifera scutellata, known for its aggressive behavior. The woman understands immediately that this is not an easy task because honey means energy, but to get that energy they must endure the attack of bees whose stings can tear into their skin. They gather dry grass and wood to create smoke because smoke is the only way to drive the bees away, even slightly. The man begins climbing the tree despite his exhaustion, because he knows that below him, the woman and the child are depending on this honey for survival. The bees become agitated and soon begin attacking in swarms, their small bodies striking with the intensity of fire. Stings piercing his hands, his face, his neck. But he does not stop climbing because he knows that if he lets go, they will have nothing. The woman below continues creating smoke, her eyes filled with fear, but she does not stop because stopping means hunger. Finally, the man breaks the hive and golden honey begins to fall. The woman quickly gathers it, along with the larvae still moving within it, a sight that may be disturbing to others, but to them it is strength. They begin eating, and with every bite, their energy slowly returns. The child reaches first for the larvae because it contains fat and vital nutrients. The man climbs down, his body swollen from the stings, but relief fills his eyes because they will not go hungry today. But at that moment, the distant sound of spotted hyenas echoes again, reminding them that food is not just strength. Food is also danger, because others have smelled it and they are coming. When the sun disappears below the horizon, the savanna falls into darkness. And with that darkness comes fear, because night belongs to the predators. The fire burns in front of them as the Hadzabe woman and man share the python meat and honey, but their eyes constantly move toward the darkness because they know this smell attracts others. Suddenly, heavy footsteps are heard in the grass along with a low laughter-like sound that can only belong to spotted hyenas. The child clings to the woman, fear visible. The man slowly stands and takes a burning stick from the fire, his body tense, his eyes fixed on the darkness. Glowing eyes begin to appear, one pair then many, surrounding them, moving slowly, calculating. The hyenas circle, testing, looking for weakness. The woman adds more wood to the fire, making the flames rise higher because the fire is their only defense. One hyena steps forward and the man throws the burning stick, flames bursting and forcing it to stop, but the others continue, trying to approach from different angles. The woman grabs another burning branch and stands ready. Now both of them stand with fire against the darkness. This is not just a fight against animals. This is a fight against fear, a fight to survive. The hyenas growl, their eyes glowing in the firelight, but slowly they begin to retreat, one by one disappearing into the darkness. Though their distant calls remain, the woman breathes deeply, her hands still shaking. The man remains alert because he knows the night is not over. And this savanna is still testing them. As morning arrives after a night of fear and fire, the sunlight spreads across the savanna but brings no comfort because exhaustion and hunger still remain. They know that if they do not secure a large hunt today, their strength will disappear. The dry air carries dust. The baobab trees cast shrinking shadows as the sun rises. The man begins tracking again, searching for signs, and soon he finds deep hoof prints, the clear mark of a kudu, a powerful and fast animal. The woman feels her heart race because she knows this hunt will not be easy. It will require endurance and relentless pursuit. They follow the tracks under the burning sun, their bodies weakening, sweat evaporating quickly, until they finally see the kudu standing among the dry grass, its horns shining in the sunlight. The moment slows. The man lowers himself and prepares his spear. The woman controls her breathing. Then suddenly the wind shifts and the kudu senses them. Everything changes. The animal runs and the chase begins. The man runs after it. The woman follows, their feet breaking the dry ground. This is not just running, this is survival. The sun burns above them, their bodies weaken, but they do not stop, because losing this kudu means losing their chance to live. Under the blazing sun, the chase continues for hours. The kudu begins to slow, exhaustion taking over. This is the moment they have waited for. The man gathers his last strength, raises his spear. Time seems to stop, and he strikes. The spear drives into the kudu. It stumbles forward and then collapses, the ground shaking, dust rising. Silence follows. The man drops to his knees, unable to stand. The woman approaches with tears in her eyes because she knows they have won. But this victory came at a cost. They stand there exhausted but alive, the kudu lying before them. This is not just food, this is life. This is survival. They begin cutting the meat quickly under the burning sun, blood spilling onto the ground. The woman watching without fear now because she understands this is the reality of life. They work fast, removing the skin, exposing the meat, breaking bones to access the marrow rich in fat and energy, eating not for pleasure but for survival. Smoke rises as meat cooks, the smell spreading, a signal that could bring danger again, but they continue eating because they must regain strength, every bite restoring their bodies, but even then they remain alert because survival never stops. As evening falls again, the Hadzabe camp prepares for the Epimei ritual, a sacred tradition where meat is shared according to strict rules passed through generations. The fire burns as people gather. The kudu meat is divided carefully, each piece carrying meaning. No one takes freely. Everything follows order. Elders begin the ritual. Silence fills the air. Then one by one portions are distributed. The woman watches in awe as she realizes this is not just survival. This is community. No one eats alone. Everything is shared. The firelight dances as songs begin. Songs of history, survival, identity. She looks at the flames and understands that this harsh land does not only challenge people, it binds them together. But as the days pass, the sky remains empty. No clouds. The ground grows drier. The heat intensifies. Drought begins. The baobab trees no longer provide enough. The child grows weaker. The meat runs out. Animals move away. Water disappears. They find a dry riverbed, cracked earth where life once flowed. The woman digs into the ground and finds a small amount of moisture, squeezing out just enough water to keep the child alive. It is not enough. It only buys time, but time is everything. The man looks into the distance knowing they must keep moving because stopping means death. They walk again, their bodies weak, their steps heavy, the sun burning above them, the ground scorching beneath them. But they do not stop because they are Hadzabe, because survival is not just breathing. Survival is fighting, and that fight never ends.